Hello Ace, this is RetroTK2 and today you'll learn how to get C#7 syntax within Unity. We'll check out what version the current release of Unity supports. Then I'll show you the nameof operator feature from C#6. After that we'll install a plugin that unlocks all this phenomenal potential. And finally we'll get to see the fully featured C#6 in Unity 2017's beta release. There's a ton of stuff to get through Ace, so let's get started. Well, before we get down to the nitty-gritty, let's find out what version of C# the current release of Unity supports. According to this post on the Unity Answer forum, the new compiler still targets C#4 and .NET 3.5. This is talking about Unity 5.5.0, but it's the same with the 5.6.0 F3 version that I currently have installed. C#4? Yes, C#4. And it's been that way for as long as I can remember. It has to be noted that the current beta version of Unity, that's Unity 2017.1.0b3, does support C#6 and .NET 4.6. But we'll get onto that a little later in this video. Right, so the current stable version of Unity uses C#4, but what's the big deal? I mean, it hasn't stopped us making games. Why should you want the features of C#5, 6 and 7? Because they're amazing, Ace. I'm not going to go into all the features with you in this video, and I'll probably make a short series about them soon. But in the meantime, please check out the Stack Overflow links in the description for an incredibly detailed outline of the C#7 and 6 features. We will, however, look at one feature from C#6, just to test and make sure our upgrade works. That feature is the nameof operator. This phenomenal feature allows you to get the name of a code element as a string. Here I'm using it to log out the name of the start method and the new behavior script class, like so. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, that's a bit pointless, I could just write out the string for new behavior script. Ta-da! Well, yes, you could do that, but using the nameof operator allows the element's name to change, like so. Check and made, Ace. I'm just kidding with you. I have no doubts that you knew exactly how brilliant this feature is. Anyway, moving on. If you attempt to use the nameof operator in Unity 5.6, you'll be met with a very annoying yet necessary error. Cannot resolve symbol nameof. In Unity, this error appears quite differently, but with an equal level of obstruction. Feature nameof operator cannot be used because it is not part of the C# 4.0 language specification. Well, let's fix that right now, Ace. Open up your web browser of choice, type C#6 Unity into your search engine and hit enter. It should be the first link, but if for whatever reason it's not, simply look for AlexZZZZ in the search results and click that link. If you can't be bothered with all this, Ace, the link to the correct page is in the description. This project provides us with everything we need to use the C#7, 6 and 5 syntax. I keep saying syntax Ace because there are some features from the different versions that we won't be able to use. The example given here is the dynamic keyword used for late binding. This feature still won't work because CLR, Common Language Runtime 2.0, doesn't support it. But a lot of the other language features, the nameof operator being one of these, Ace, is supported since it's just Syntactic Sugar. What is Syntactic Sugar? Well, according to Wikipedia, in computer science, Syntactic Sugar is syntax within a programming language that is designed to make things easier to read or to express. It makes the language sweeter for human use. As usual, Ace, I have no affiliation with this project, nor do I know the coder that wrote it. Now that that's all been said, this project is amazing. The fact that we can unlock so much features from the more up-to-date C# versions is truly breathtaking and saves so much time. Alex Stankin, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, on behalf of all the people that have and have yet to use your wonderful plugin, I thank you. We'll be following Alex's instructions fairly closely here, Ace, so as not to make any silly mistakes. First, make sure you've got .NET Framework 4.6.2 or above installed if you're on a Windows machine. And if you're on a Mac, make sure you've installed Mono 4.6 or above. Right, let's download the project. Feel free to clone the repository if you prefer, Ace, though I must admit I had quite a bit of trouble trying to do so. Perhaps you'll have better luck, but I, on the other hand, will opt to simply download it. Click the Downloads element in the list and then choose whichever C# version you want to support. Free tip is, choose the most recent version. With the correct zip file downloaded, we're good to go. Extract the zip folder to your project's root folder. To get to there from Unity, right-click on the Projects window and select Show in Explorer. Copy this folder's path from your Explorer's address bar and paste it into the Location text field of the Extract Folder dialog. Extract the folder is. Now open your newly extracted folder and double-click the file C#70support.unity package. Hey, look at that, Ace. I'm showing you how to import a package into Unity. A sort of 2-for-1 tutorial. Click the Import button. Not exactly the greatest tutorial I've ever done, Ace, but hey, what can you do? Okay, with that package imported, either close the editor or re-import all the assets. I'm going to re-import all the assets because why not? Right-click on the project window, click Re-import All, and when the dialog pops up, click the Re-import button. Wait for the re-import to complete. And that's pretty much it, Ace. You can now use C#7 Syntactic Sugar within your project. Well, apart from this optional task that will make compilation in Unity a bit faster. But I mean really, who needs better compilation time in Unity anyway? Asked nobody ever. We will of course be completing this task, Ace. Like the task says, we'll be pre-compiling csc.exe, pdb2mdb.exe, and mcs.exe using ngen. Click in the Windows search bar and type cmd. Right-click on Command Prompt and click Run as Administrator. Click Yes if the UIC dialog pops up. I'm also going to open Notepad here, Ace, just so that I can construct my command, but feel free to type your command directly into the cmd window. Head back to your extracted C# support folder and copy the folder's path from the address bar once again. Paste the path into a text editor of your choice and put a speech mark just before it. Next, add a backslash to the end of the path and type ngen install.cmd. Close the whole thing off with another speech mark. Copy your command, right-click on the CMD window and click Paste. After all that fun, click Enter, sit back and witness the brilliance of the install program. Wait until the CMD window displays Press any key to continue. Now for me, the mcs.exe came up with the error the specified file or directory, C# users RetroTK2 desktop new Unity project, C#70 support mcs.exe is invalid. And to be honest with you, Ace, I'm not exactly sure why. Give me a comment down below if you know what's going on. Press Enter, then close the command window. You're now free to use the C#7, 6 and 5 Syntactic Sugar in your project. One important note for those still using Visual Studio 2015. You can use it, but you won't be able to use the C#7 features since Visual Studio 2015 doesn't support it. Well, you can get C#7 support for Visual Studio 2015, but it does seem like a pretty painful process, Ace, and certainly isn't something I would advise. But hey, if you fancy a challenge, Godspeed. Another issue you'll run into if you're using Visual Studio 2015 with Unity 5.6 is that you'll get an error if you try to build within Visual Studio. If I click Build Solution, you'll see we get the error Invalid Option 7 for lang version must be iOS 1, iOS 2, default or an integer in range 1 to 6. This can be a real problem if, like me, you prefer running your unit tests in Visual Studio rather than in Unity. Well, what's the cause? It's to do with the lang version tag in the .csprog and .editor.csprog files. If we open them up with the text editor, I'm going to use Notepad++ for simplicity's sake, you'll see that the lang version is set to 7. Changing this to 6 on both files will make the error go away and should allow you to build your project in Visual Studio. But it's far from a valid solution to the problem, Ace, since you'll have to change it each time the .csprog files are generated. For me, the only viable option was the upgrade to VS 2017, but that may not be available to you. A few more things before we move on to Unity 2017's beta version. If you find a bug while using Alex's plugin, I'd strongly suggest opening an issue ticket on Alex's Bitbucket repository instead of commenting on this video. I mean, by all means, feel free to comment on this video, Ace, about any bugs you spot, but you'll have a far greater chance of getting that bug fixed if you open an issue with Alex. That's what I've done for the ngen install areas, because I'm so cool. I'd also advise you to check out the Unity forum thread for this plugin, since it has some pretty good examples of the async await C# feature. Once again, Alex, thank you so much for all your hard work and effort with this project. It's pretty darn awesome. Right, let's have a quick look at Unity's 2017's beta release, since it does provide C#6 support. Head to your browser of choice, type Unity 2017 Beta into any search engine, and click the link that says Unity Beta. Scroll down the page and click the big Download Installer button underneath Unity 2017.1.0b3. Once it's done, click the installer.exe and install Unity. If you'd like a more detailed walkthrough of a Unity installation, please feel free to check out my video on it. The card should be on your screen now. Grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let it download and install. I shall personally be drinking a Pepsi, yes. Even after this whole apocalypse stuff, it's still the best soft drink money can buy. Or at least I think so, yes. When it's done, click Finish and Unity 2017 should launch in all her glory. Here I've created a fairly standard project. To get it to compile to .NET 4.6 and to get all those wonderful C#6 features, click File, Build Settings. When the dialog pops up, click Player Settings. Click the drop-down beside Scripting Runtime Version. Select Experimental.NET 4.6 equivalent and restart the Unity editor. So now if we try to use the nameof operator, you'll see that we get an error. Wait, what? Yeah, I'm not really sure why it does this, yes, but for whatever reason, the .cs prog file doesn't update its target framework version, so it's still stuck on v3.5. Deleting the .cs prog file, saving at least one scene with your script in it, and restarting the editor seems to be the quickest way I've found to fix this. But you've got to admit, that's extremely annoying. So what's the big difference between this and Alex's plugin? Well, it's not just Syntactic Sugar, it's the fully featured C#6. That means you can use the dynamic late binding keyword. I'm not even making this up, Ace. After all this time, all these years of not being able to use late binding, you can now just use it. I find that really hard to get over. You may also be thinking, why not combine Unity 2017 with Alex's plugin? But sadly it's a no-go with this current release. Hopefully Alex will get the chance to port it over soon. Well, now we've seen a method for getting the fully featured C#6 in Unity and another for getting C#7 Syntactic Sugar. But the biggest question here is, should you use either of them? Well, using a beta version of Unity in a production environment is usually strongly advised against, since it's prone to bugs. That leaves you with Alex's plugin, which is great, but we don't know if the newer versions of Unity will support C#7. My advice would be to use Alex's plugin and use C#7 syntactic features sparingly. That way you can quickly refactor them out if you need to upgrade to Unity 2017's official release. But if you're working on a project close to its deadline, say 3 months away, yes, I'd advise passing on both. The costs greatly outweigh the benefits in that scenario. This has been a thorough walkthrough of how to get C#6 and 7 syntax within Unity. And that's it. Rate, comment and subscribe, yes, I'm sure you'll enjoy all these new C# features. You can email me at retrotk2@gmail.com with your C# tricks. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.